Hello and welcome back to I Will Break Your Game with the Talos Principle. If you remember back to episode 4 when we were breaking puzzles in A5, I said near the start of the episode that cubes are the bread and butter of breaking puzzles in Talos, and this world is a prime example. We're going to begin by placing a stack of 2 cubes in quite a specific place here. You want to try and copy exactly where I've put it, which is roughly in line with the bush just to my left, and with the cube not quite touching the bricks on the right hand side. Get it as close to where I've put mine as you possibly can if you're copying these solutions. Now you're going to grab the second cube and put it on top of the first. We're going to jump on top of these by getting on top of some slightly raised floor just over here. This brick that's closest to the cubes we've put down, you can walk right to the corner of that, and you should get a jump prompt to get onto the 2 stacked cubes. From here you can jump onto the wall at the far side. Now we're going to break from tradition here somewhat. In almost every single level so far, maybe even every single level so far, the break for the first puzzle has allowed us to break more puzzles subsequently. This time around, we can only get a single sigil with this break. Now, this next puzzle is one of the rarer few that actually has more than one distinct way of breaking the puzzle. However, on this occasion, one of the ways is more useful and one of the ways is more fun. And since this episode is already fairly short, I thought we'd do both. We're going to start with the fun method, which is probably slightly easier and slightly quicker. You want to grab a single cube and run straight to the sigil. This fan is stopping your path, and Crow Team have made this corridor long enough that you can't jump over the fan without getting blown back. Well, nearly. With just the right placement of the cube and a perfectly timed jump, you can jump over the fan and grab the sigil. If you use the jump prompt on this cube, it may look slightly weird because you glitch through the stone just above the cube, as you can see here. And that's the second sigil. As I say, that break isn't really necessary, which is a shame because I like it. But we're going to use another perfect placement of a stack of 2 cubes in order to jump on a wall. So you want to place this cube roughly in line with the middle of that plant, and roughly in line with that fan. Now if you stack the cubes, you can just about get a jump prompt from being stood on the fan, and get on top of the stack of cubes like before. And now with another well-timed jump, you can get on top of the wall over here. This is another example where you want to match your placement of cubes as closely as you can to mine. You've got a very small margin of error to be able to jump from the fan to the cubes, and then from the cubes to the wall. Now all we have to do to grab the sigil is some wall jumping, which I'm sure you're more than familiar with by now having watched the series. This method is probably slightly more difficult, but it's more practical because we can use this solution to break other puzzles. The sigil would be just to my left here, so you can jump in and grab it if you're using this solution, but be careful not to get caught in the fan. This next sigil is the reason the episode is so short. This is the quickest series of 2 sigils we've had so far, and they may continue to hold that title until the end of the game. Next, we're going to make the jump over to this cube. It's a slightly tricky jump, just try and jump as late as you possibly can. Now we're going to get on top of the walls, and we're going to bring the cube with us. Here we're making another jump that is just about on the edge of our jump distance, so again, jump as late as you can. And now we're in the final puzzle. We're simply going to stack this cube and the 2 that are already in this level to get into the sigils chamber the way you're supposed to leave. Now, 2 or 3 of the puzzles in this level I broke differently this time around. I either couldn't remember or couldn't replicate some of my solutions from the last run. This is one of them, and I'll show you how I broke it last time, but I couldn't manage it this time around. But you're more than welcome to try it. Bring all your cubes round to this fan, but remember to take the fan off first. You're going to stack 2 cubes on top of the platform on the fan, and just like we did here, you're going to use the 3rd cube as the step to get up onto the other 2. If you've only got 2 cubes with you though from this level, you can also jump on from the back of the fan, it's just slightly trickier. This next part is a little bit tricky to explain. You want to get on top of the stack of 2 cubes, and then you're going to make a sprinting run towards the wall on the opposite side. What can happen if you get it just right is that the game gives you a jumping prompt as you leave the stack of 2 cubes that you're running off, so you can jump just as you catch the air and land on the wall, but I couldn't manage it this time around. Thank you very much for watching this episode of I Will Break Your Game with the Talos Principle. I don't know what's going to happen next episode. Next episode is the first level that on my previous run I couldn't break all of the puzzles in. A couple of things could happen. First of all, I'll take some time and I'll try and break the puzzles that I couldn't do last time, but there's a chance that I might just not manage it. So what I'll do instead, if I can't break them, is look around for other people's solutions and credit them accordingly. and failing that, then I'll simply have to move on from puzzles that I can't break and try the rest of the game. I may return to them in the future, or if you guys find any solutions to them, then you can help me out.